I'm Wayne Tyler. I'm from Salt Lake City. This is the National Mall, which is going to be, it is a 4-year project. This is going to be 2 years worth of work that you're going to look at. And it kind of all started with the Lincoln Memorial, which was a Lego set, and the U.S. Capitol building, which was a Lego set. And when I got the Capitol building, I was very excited that it was the same scale as the Lincoln Memorial. And when I built it, I realized the whole west side was blank. It was just a flat wall. Yeah. And I was very disappointed because when you look at the pictures, there's all these wonderful stair steps and stuff like that. And it's like, wait a minute, it can be better than this. And so I first added on to the U.S. Capitol building. And then I go, wait, I've got the Lincoln Memorial, which is the west side of the National Mall, and the Capitol building, which is the east side of the National Mall. I want to see everything in between. And I went looking on Lego sites for anybody who had built such a thing, and it didn't exist. So I was going to have to do it myself. And so the Capitol modification was probably the first thing I did. The first original mock I did would be the Washington Monument, because that was really straightforward. And then I said, okay, what's the next easiest one? And it turned out to be the American History Museum, because it had basically slab sides, and I could figure that out with a 2x4 tile piece is a slab side. And so I built that and then kind of worked my way up the American History Museum. Then I did the Natural History Museum and the Sculpture Garden, and I just kind of worked my way up to the Capitol, and I had half of the north side of the mall. And it was like, this is great, it's going great. So, but that was probably a year's worth of work. And I realized that I was going to have to do all the stuff on the other side, and that's probably another year's worth of work. But then I got distracted by doing the Washington Monument grounds. And I wanted to do it as a test because I wanted to see how I could light it. Because to me, at night, the National Mall is magical with the lights on the building and the street lights, and it just becomes magical. And that's what I have in my head. This tough challenge is going to be the National Museum of the American Indian, which is nothing but curves. And that's going to be a challenge, and we'll figure that one out when we get there. However, I'm looking forward to the National Air and Space Museum because it's nothing but cubes, and that'll be an easy
That one lends itself a little easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to the buildings here, the landscaping is really excellent. So take us through some of the details there, like kind of how you decided trees and paths and that sort of thing.
The vehicles is accurate because it's all based on satellite photography, which I then translated to a grid, which became the Lego model. So what I've tried to do is, in Lego, recreate as accurately as possible the mall all the way from, well, at least right now, from the Capitol building to the Washington Monument, with the height information, with the buildings being as close to the real buildings, and all the vegetation, everything. So you can look at this and then go to the mall and say, I know that because I saw it as a Lego model. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work. And like I said, I'm 2 years into a 4-year project. And when it's complete, it'll be from the Capitol building all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial, which in actual dimensions will be about 36 feet. I will also be including the Jefferson Memorial, the FDR Memorial, the Martin Luther King Memorial, which is on the other side of the tidal basin, which is going to make it about 5 feet wide. So it's going to be huge. I knew I wanted to light the mall if possible, and we needed to figure out how to build the lighting so that it looked right for the scale that I'm building at. I work with Rob Klingberg at Brick Stuff, and between him and I going back and forth, I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, and then he would tell me what he could build, and we went back and forth until we finally decided on, to get the street lights, to use levers, and we'd run the wire up next to the lever, and then we'd put a shrink wrap around the lever and the wire to hide the wire, and all of a sudden it started to look like street lights. So there are in fact 178 lights on the Washington Monument grounds. All the wiring for the lighting is underneath in what I call the crawl space. And the cool thing about this is The lighting is connected between the subsections by magnetic power connectors. So I don't have to deal with putting little plugs into little sockets anymore. All I got to do is push the sections together and the magnets click and the power flows.
That sounds like the way to do it right there.
Absolutely, especially if you have to break it down to drive it across the country or whatever. So Rob and I worked on the street lights, worked on Rob came up with the idea for the aircraft warning lights on top of the Washington Monument. I came up with the idea for the flagpole lights at the base of the Washington Monument. And together, we came up with this whole lighting scheme. I'm so happy with it that I'll be implementing it for the rest of the mall.
And so with those tiny wires all throughout there, do you have any trouble with things kind of getting like disconnected or wires breaking, anything like that, or does it tend to stay together pretty well?
It stays together pretty well, but I'm hoping to take it to Bricksville, Virginia, because the people there would understand it.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, cross my fingers, maybe to Brickworld, Chicago.